The Packers win a very important game against the Rams in front of an amazing crowd at Lambeau Field and now get much needed rest and recovery time before the final 6 regular season games. Let's talk about it all coming up on your Packers Fan Podcast.
Greetings and salutations, Packers family. I'm Scott Clark, happy to be here to celebrate another win that keeps Coach LaFleur's streak of never losing 2 games in a row alive. Very excited to chat with my good friend about everything that happened this weekend and how relieved we are to have a brief break.
And me, I'm Wayne Henderson from MediaVoiceovers.com, and it's beginning to look a lot like playoffs in the NFC. Stand beside her. Oh, wait, that wrong song. Hey, this is Packers Fan Podcast, episode 241, and we're going to review what we loved and what we didn't from the big win over the Rams. And as is tradition, we'll share your insightful voicemails as well as other miscellaneous feedback comments. There's some good stuff coming your way.
And as I mentioned earlier, the Packers are now on their bye week officially. And by the way, Wayne, did you know that this is the latest that the Packers have ever had their bye week in all their entire history?
Indeed.
Week 13. So we'll chat about that with you. And since there won't be a Packer game this weekend, we'll wait till our next episode to zero in on the Chicago Bears matchup at Lambeau Field. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about that Rams game, and plenty of highlights were to be seen on that game. First off, I get the big highlight for me, and probably what Wayne likes to call the dagger of the game, was, even though it wasn't, but Rasul Douglas had his second pick 6 since joining the Packers squad. And interestingly enough, this is Matthew Stafford's 3rd game in a row where he threw an interception that was run back for a touchdown. And Douglas almost had a second one. There was one that was in his hands. He should have caught it, and it would have been another 6, and I just about jumped out of my seat when that happened, because that would have been the dagger for sure, but it came close.
That would have been beyond fantastic. And yes, I did call it the dagger, and, you know, a lot of people said, it's a little early. I'm like, no, it was the dagger.
It was third quarter, man.
Yes, but we were well on our way. For me, the other thing that was great was we had the strip sack fumble against Stafford, who I guess thought he was still with the Lions when he came to Lambeau. And then Aaron Rodgers runs it in for a touchdown all by himself. And that's almost like a little early jab of a dagger, but it was way early, but it was still fun.
It was awesome to see. It was almost the identical play they did to a previous game they had against the Rams, but where he pump faked and got Ramsey to bite just a little bit so that he could get in there and run it in the corner with his COVID toe and everything. It was pretty impressive to see. That was a little sarcasm if you couldn't tell.
Oh, the whole COVID toe sarcasm. Oh my gosh. In our Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community at packerscommunity.com, the toe related jokes were on point and, well, maybe a little off point, but there was a lot of them.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a kick in the teeth, but what are you going to do?
Oh.
Also, we got to talk about A.J. Dillon, who was on fire in the 3rd and late in the 4th quarter. Also got a touchdown. That dude is a machine. There were some of those runs where it looks like he should have been down way earlier than he was, and he just powers through. It's insane. I actually saw a tweet that he posted today saying that he used to be a bouncer, and I can see why. I would not want to mess with a guy like that size. He only had 69 yards and 20 carries, which doesn't sound like a lot, but those runs that he had in the 3rd were actually more helpful than those stats speak, considering he helped to chew up the clock in the 4th quarter a great deal. It was just keeping that ball on the ground and getting the game to be over with so he could walk away with the W.
He is one of the most exciting running backs there is in the NFL right now, because the fact that he can just carry people another 3, 4, 5 yards. There's only a few running backs that can do that. I'm glad we have one on the Packers.
Same here. I think Devontae Adams even had a quote saying something to the effect of, the guy always seems to get at least 4 yards. Like, it's just always. It's not even like, I don't even know the actual stat of what his average, but he's always getting something. He's always making gains. And I love that we have a running game. It's so good.
And I love that we had 3 field goals by Mason Crosby, all in the same game. Now, of course, later there was a doink. 3 out of 4. That's pretty good.
Hey, it's better improved than what it's been. So
yes, we'll take it.
Absolutely. I still got faith in the guy. Maybe running out of gas, getting a little up there in age, but he's still the most highest scoring player in Packers history. We can't expect that to last forever.
I wish.
And speaking of kicking, Bojorquez is just continuing to be a stellar punter for our team. I don't know how he does it, because how do you gauge the bounce of a ball? There's no way that you can, with it being such an oblong shape like that, he is somehow able to just get it right in the perfect spot for it to roll just inside that 5-yard line. Oh, I just love that. If only the rest of our special teams could be as on point as he is with his punts.
That would be fantastic. And you make an excellent point about how the ball is shaped, which makes it so unpredictable. Mm-hmm. And that's why when it's summertime and I'm watching the Australian Rules Football League, and they actually dribble, their ball is a lot like the NFL ball. A little different, but still, they dribble it sometimes. And I'm like, how do you dribble a ball that's not even round?
Yeah, it's crazy. I can't dribble a round soccer ball. So
there you go. There's that.
We do have some lowlights to talk about, although they're brief this week, thankfully. We did have that muffed punt by Randall Cobb that was recovered by the Rams. This is very out of character for Cobb. He's usually very on point, and I know everyone was just kind of hollering and screaming, special team. This is all on Cobb, guys. I mean, there's nothing that you can do on the coaching side of that or the rest of the special teams to make a guy catch a ball. It was fair. He called a fair catch too. It wasn't even like he was going to run it. So or did he? Was it a fair? Yeah, he called a fair catch, didn't he?
Yeah, fair catch.
Thankfully, the Pack did hold them to a field goal after the Rams had a failed attempt at a trick pass play in the end zone, and at least they only got 3 on that one, but that was kind of a bummer to see.
Yeah, and even on the punting side of things, as well as the field goal kicks, it's not all Mason Crosby. It's not all Bojorquez. Problems with the long snapper. Even Troy Aikman or Joe Buck mentioned it on the show. And so I'm wondering if the problems that our long snappers having, is it just because he's so new to the team? Can they be corrected soon enough, or do we need to get a new one somewhere?
I'm not really sure what to do. I just hate that whenever we line up to a field goal, I get a pit in my stomach now. Whereas in the past, I just was like, all right, here's 3 points. Now right. I'm wondering. You know what I mean? And that really needs to get ironed out, especially as we go into this final stretch. Hopefully the 2-week hiatus here can help them iron out some of those issues.
Yeah, the other thing that'll help iron it out is just get more touchdowns. And then
that works too. Don't even give him an opportunity to have a field goal. Just get it in the end zone. Speaking of Randall Cobb, he did also unfortunately leave the game with a groin injury, but this was after he marked 4 passes for 95 yards and a touchdown. So this is a perfect time for the Packers to have a bye with Cobb being gone and everybody else. Here's to hoping that we get some good news in the next 2 weeks, because we really want to be well equipped against the Bears, because that should be a must-win for us. But we have a history of coming out of the bye not doing so hot, and little overconfidence, which I'm sure we'll talk about in our keys to victory next week.
Yeah, at the same time, we usually don't come out of our bye playing the Bears.
That's true.
So
That's true.
But we'll get to that next week for sure.
Mm-hmm.
A silver lining to an actual low point, the low point being one of the Rams, Van Jefferson, scored a touchdown. Of course, that stinks. But when he thought about committing sacrilege and doing the Lambeau leap, he couldn't seem to find enough safe Rams fans in the end zone. And when he got close to the wall, a couple of Packers fans just pushed him away just in case. And that kind of stuff just makes me smile.
It does. You could see him kind of like giving him the no signal with their arms. That was kind of great. That was a bummer of a play. He was covered by Chandon Sullivan, who just really blew the coverage. And there was another long one by OBJ that Douglas and Amos missed on that one. So those secondary receivers do need to get those tightened up a little bit, but the rest of the game, they were pretty decent. So I'm not complaining too much, but you just hate to see those plays that you would like to see on the other side of the ball for sure. And speaking of Odell Beckham Jr., I thought it was worth noting. I don't know if you heard this story, Wayne, but it was pretty funny. Beckham actually contacted Adams because they knew they were going to be going to the game together this weekend, and proposed a jersey swap where Adams would give Beckham, a jersey, and Beckham would give Adams a jersey, and Adams turned him down.
What?
And he turned him down, and he said, I quote, this is so great. He said, I told him to go get a Cooper Kupp jersey since that's obviously his guy and that's who he wanted to be with, unquote.
For real?
That's for real what he said.
Oh.
So he basically said, because if you remember, Beckham was toying with the idea of coming to Green Bay and opted for the Rams instead. And then wanted a Devontae Adams jersey. He's like, no, dude, go get Kupp's jersey. That's the guy that you wanted to be with. So
okay, burn.
I thought it was some great shade. I'm not usually one for that kind of shade, but dude, I thought that was great. It was
well, since
really
it's
funny.
only been a few weeks since the whole OBJ maybe coming to the Packers, maybe not. So this kind of helps put a exclamation point at the end of that story.
And I don't know. After this week, I'm just really glad that he went to the Rams and not to Green Bay. I don't know. A lot of people were excited about that idea. I was not excited about that idea.
Me neither. In fact, I believe when you asked me about the possibility on the show 2 or 3 weeks ago, I believe I said something along the lines of, hell no.
Yeah, pretty much. He could keep his purple hair in with the Rams.
Yeah, just we have a bit of coherency on our team. And you can see that ever since he joined the Rams, they're still trying to get all these stars to mesh together, and we don't have time for that.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Oh, thanks for that classic callback. Now, remember, dear listener, you can help us fight hunger for ourselves. It's not a worldly thing. Just fight our own hunger and help out the show at the same time. You can gift us a virtual brat or two at Packers Fan Podcast /brat. Of course, it's going to appear like you're buying us a coffee. Not that there's anything wrong with that, as they would say in Seinfeld. But much like converting Japanese yen into U.S. dollars, we can now convert coffee into virtual brats.
And what could be better for Packers fans? If you'd like to send us a virtual coffee or bratwurst, just go to PackersFanPodcast.com /brat. Let's go ahead and move on to some listener feedback. We do love you guys, and we love hearing from you even more. Our voicemail line, once again, is 920-3PACK-GO. Or if you'd like to pre-record your message, you can also send it to us via email. The address is feedback@PackersFanPodcast.com. And not this week, obviously, because we don't have a game, but next week when we do preview the Bears matchup, please call us with your predictions and excitement for the upcoming Bears game. Prior to the recording so that we can get that in time for the show.
Go, Pack, go! Gonna go, Dead Core, baby! This is Megan. That was sweet, obviously. I was nervous going into it, just like I was in playoffs last year, and it was a fun game. It was a close game, a little stressful at times, and obviously happy with the dub. I had to talk about Cobb. You guys don't really know how much I love Randall Cobb. I always have. Because he wasn't on our team when I started calling in. The bullseye pass by Aaron, honestly, in the beginning, before Cobb ran it for 54 yards, was beautiful, and the fumble was brutal. But I was really glad they didn't keep him out. I was worried they would keep him out after that fumble, and they didn't. He came back and had another sick catch, followed by the touchdown, which was amazing. I wondered, too, if he was hurt during that, because I had seen him, go off and get looked at before. Anyways, it sucked that he went out. I mean, he definitely had a major impact on this game, and I hope he doesn't have to stay out and he's not in too much pain. Okay, gotta talk about the defense a little bit. So, Scott, week after week, our guy Kenny Clark, he's everywhere. He makes sacks. He's just rock solid. It's amazing. It's awesome to have Rashawn back. He's tag teaming with Preston. They each had 1.5 sacks. It's like they worked together the entire time. I can't imagine what it's going to be like when Z comes back. It's going to be crazy. I couldn't believe Savage with the near picks. It's week after week. I can't decide if the effort is commendable or if he should be securing them. Either way, he's fun to watch. Yeah, do I have to say anything other than Russell Douglas? I really don't think I have to. So, EQ needs some credit. There's a few things to say about special teams. I'm not going to even go into it. But good things and bad things. But EQ talked about his pressure this week that he had wanted to be better on special teams, and he was better. He was awesome. Twice he made big plays, and then he had a catch from Rodgers, which was huge too. I have one feedback or one piece of something to say from Pete that I thought was really funny. He said, Odell, don't you wish you were a Packer? Yeah, I bet he does. Anyways, going into the bye week, let's heal up, rest up. 93, let's go! Go back down!
Thank you, Megan, for the call. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Beckham is wondering if he made the right decision, but it is what it is, as they say. Yeah, I've always loved Randall Cobb as well, and it's funny you mentioned about him redeeming himself, because as soon as he caught that touchdown pass, I immediately went into the Facebook group to post a GIF from that movie Dumb and Dumber where he says, "Totally redeemed yourself," and 2 people had already done it. So I thought that was pretty funny.
You snooze, you lose.
I know, right? I got to wait till commercial, so you know how it goes. I just love hearing Kenny Clark's name over and over again. He's just everywhere. And I love hearing not only his name announced as doing something, but I love hearing the announcer say things like one of the best in the league. It's just I love it. I love hearing that, not just because it's my name as well, but it's just so cool that we've got somebody on the defense again. You know, we had Clay Matthews in the past, and even back further, we had Reggie White, but Kenny Clark is that guy for this team, and I absolutely love it. I'm with you also on Savage. He keeps coming so close, and you know he wants it just as bad, because you can see by his reaction and how upset he is with himself. I don't think it's a lack of effort. I think it's just, you got to remember, that whole thing goes a lot quicker than it looks on TV, even when it's not in slow motion. So the fact that they're able to even get in front of it, much less have a chance at picking it off, says something. But and yeah, Rasul Douglas. What else? That's all you got to do is just say his name. It was such a fun game to watch.
Yeah, talking about somebody coming out of nowhere after getting to the Packers, Rasul Douglas doing fantastic things. It's almost like Devondre Campbell, who this year he's just almost everywhere. Mm-hmm. And so we got so many personalities. Every year the team is a little different and has its own unique personality. And this year, again, something special. Before I play the next voicemail, I got a question for you, Scott.
Yes, sir.
Do you like to hear Go Pack Goes?
Oh, you know it.
Go Pack Go! Go Pack Go! Hey guys, Andre in LA. What a Thanksgiving weekend. It only would have been made better if the Packers actually beat the Rams on Thanksgiving Day, so all my family in LA could have been there and sit there and force the Go Pack Go. I loved it from the defense, even though the score didn't really reflect it, but the defense was everywhere. I love the aggressive play calling from Matt LaFleur. Going for it consistently on 4th down. Love it. You know, it's probably a result of Crosby being a little inconsistent, but hey, he made his today. I mean, not today, but yesterday. Love what I saw from the old man Rodgers. Looked great. Ran one in with a bad toe. Threw a couple touchdowns. Devontae Adams, way to dominate. Randall Cobb, you looking great. Scantley, a bit more consistent. Lazard, welcome back. Aaron Jones, welcome back. The defense was everywhere. Clark, the brothers, I forget their name. Smith brothers, I think it is, even though they're not brothers. Loved it. Loved everything I saw yesterday. We dominated. Man, this is looking like our year. We're going into a bye. We can get our team healed up. I know we played yesterday without 2 of our best O-line. Hopefully they'll come back. I don't know, is Bakhtiari out for the season? I forgot. But, you know, Jenkins, we want him back as well. Sorry I'm going all over the place, but it was a great weekend. Love Thanksgiving. Looking forward to the bye so I can rest my voice. It's a little sore. Love you guys, Andre LA. Love all the fans of the podcast. Keep supporting. Go Pack Go!
Go Pack Go indeed, Andre. Thank you so very much for giving us a call, as always, at 920-3-PACK-GO. And much like for the Packers, Scott, the bye week is coming to Andre just in time.
Yeah, that's saying something. And yeah, happy Thanksgiving to you as well, Andre. As much fun as it would have been to watch that game on Thanksgiving, you know, we had to watch some other games instead, and I watched all 3 games. It was a great holiday.
And we do get a Packers game on Christmas, though.
Yeah, that's true. Seems like we get one every year, either Thanksgiving or Christmas. I'm not complaining, but it's gonna be a lot of fun.
And great points all around. Kudos to all sorts of Packers receivers, running backs, as well as the Smith brothers. And David Bakhtiari, he's eligible to come back, but I guess from week to week, our coach is just holding him back, just wants him to get to at least 100% mathematically, And I thought for sure I'd be seeing him on the field against the Rams, but I guess, one more week, then the bye week, I would think that it's got to almost be for sure that we're going to see David Bakhtiari when we play the Bears after the bye, right?
I would assume so, but I'm not in the office, so I'm not going to expect anything, but I would love to see him on there for sure. I also wanted to comment on what Andre said about LaFleur being super aggressive. He's been going for it on fourth down a lot. There was one that we did convert, but I didn't know if I liked it. It was real close to the middle of the field, and I was like, dude, that is a pretty aggressive play. But thankfully it did come in our favor. But he is being very, very aggressive on fourth downs this season, and I'm liking it. I just didn't know if I liked it on that one with the position.
Well, when you have A.J. Dillon.
Yeah, pretty much.
Good morning, guys. Mark from New Lisbon. It's Monday morning. Nothing better than enjoying a Packer win and watching all the national media rave about Rodgers and the Packers. But, it was a great win. I mean, there's a saying in the NFL that if you're betting on a game, you bet on the team that's most desperate. And the Rams were desperate for a win. Coming off the bye and a 2-game losing streak, they really needed this game. And the Packers took it to them. So that's really encouraging as far as maybe, the Packers being the best team in the NFC and getting that number 1 seed and home field all the way through the playoffs would be great. So lots of positives. I just love the fact that guys are playing hurt. A-Rod with the toe, Jones with the knee, Gary with the arm. Those guys just went out there and played their guts out. And I think that's a credit to LaFleur just to be able to motivate guys to play hard all the time. I love A.J. Dillon. His yards after his first contact. I mean, he'll get hit at the line of scrimmage and pick up 7 yards because he's just a bull. And the nickname Quadzilla is a great nickname because his quads are huge. They compared him to like Earl Campbell. So Dillon was a great pick. A lot of the national pundits didn't like it because they didn't think we needed a running back. But if you can run the ball in December, and when you have a lead, you have to be able to run the ball. He's going to be a key cog as we hopefully go deep in the playoffs. Also, kudos to our offensive line. With guys out, I was so worried about this game with Donald and Von Miller and their pass rush. They have Floyd that came over from the Bears. I was worried Rodgers was going to get killed, and Adam Stenovich is a great offensive line coach, and he coached those guys up, and they protected Rodgers. So that was huge. Didn't run the ball as effectively, but they still, like McCarthy used to say, the number of attempts is important, and they ran the ball, I think, 25 or 30 times. So, and then my final kudos go to Joe Barry and the defense. We have a top 5 defense. And when you put the equation together of Aaron Rodgers with a top 5 defense and good coaching, the Packers are looking really good at the time of year when you want to. So, go Pack, go. Thanks for the podcast, guys. Talk to you next week.
Thank you so much, Mark in New Lisbon, United States, not Europe. I'm glad you got me straight on that. I love the nickname Quadzilla. I just think that's fantastic because, fun fact, my wife and I refer to quesadillas as Quadzillas because, you cut them into 4 pieces.
Wait a minute. You cut them into 4 pieces?
Well, they do at Taco Bell.
Spicy Scott Clark.
Exactly. But he made a really good point about Dillon being a cog for this offense, not just because, powerful running and getting yards, but for chewing up the clock. That's going to be a thing where if we can get that lead early, he's now a weapon to just, seal the win as opposed to necessarily getting the points. Although, he scored this game, which is awesome to see. And what was it? I can't remember the exact number, something like 67 yards or something over 20 runs. That's not a ton of yards, but we don't need him for the yards necessarily. I would prefer there to be lots of yards, but him chewing up the clock and getting us those first downs is going to be very key. And I just love that we have that option right now.
Yeah, not to mention wearing down the defense.
Exactly. Yeah.
You can't tackle him forever.
Especially in the cold. He was talking about, in December, nobody wants to run in December. He's able to run in December. Can you imagine how difficult it would be to tackle him in warm weather, much less when it's frigid temperatures out there? So kudos to that, because we just feel like a much more well-rounded team, whereas in the past we always were relying on the passing game. And I just like that we've got the best of both worlds right now, and it's awesome.
And who would have thought a few months ago we'd be hearing kudos for Joe Barry?
Yeah, I know, right? Get out those apology forms, right?
Well done. Thanks again, Mark, for calling us, and we can't wait to hear what you say, maybe before the Bears game as well as after the Bears game.
Mm-hmm.
So, to our weekly poll in our Facebook group at PackersCommunity.com, as well as on Twitter at Packers Fan Pod. Packers fans, which facet of our team do you think will turn out to benefit most from the bye week? So, of course, we're all, predicting the future here. Will it be our offensive line, Aaron Rodgers, our defense, or special teams?
This is a tough one because I have so many answers. I mean, the easy answer is Aaron Rodgers because of the toe, but I feel like that is something that, that the media has latched onto. Rodgers seems to be playing it off like it's not that big a deal, and even if he has surgery, he's still going to be playing. He said no matter what, he's not missing any time. He said that to a reporter after the game. So I think he'll be fine. Part of me wants to say the offensive line, mostly because of Bakhtiari, hoping that we get him back because it's less of a question mark. I'm not saying it's a for sure deal. But at the end of the day, I think I'm going to land on special teams just because there is a lot of corrections that need to be made over there. Just all together. Figure out what you've got 2 weeks now, guys. Let's figure out what's going on with that the long snapper situation, or if it's a Mason Crosby situation, or if it's a Bajorquez situation. Can we just focus on that and get that nailed down? Because we cannot, we can't win into the playoffs without a good special teams putting the ball through the uprights. So I'm going to say special teams. How about you, sir?
Okay, well, I went right to offensive line. David Bakhtiari, as well as the other guys. I know Aaron Rodgers has been protected fairly well, but I hate any time that I see him getting hit. So I think with or without Bakhtiari coming in back right for the Bears game, I do think the offensive line is going to be more in sync to be able to protect Aaron Rodgers no matter what his toe situation turns out to be in a couple of weeks.
Well, that's what we thought on this poll. Let's see what our listeners said over on our Facebook community and actually all the communities here. First off, Garrett says, O-line has not performed as well as last year, and the offensive numbers really show it. We went from the number one offense in red zone scoring to middle of the road. Not having Bakhtiari, and starting two rookies has not allowed for Rodgers to throw without pressures. Let's hope LaFleur can scheme for the rest of the season a way to run heavy and still keep number 12 happy. I don't know, part of me gets a little ruffled under the collar thinking that we have to keep Rodgers happy. If we're winning games, it doesn't matter how it happens. I don't know. Sometimes comments like that. Let's keep Rodgers happy.
Well, like you said, winning games keeps Rodgers happy.
Yeah.
And in fact, even Troy Aikman, I like points.
That was funny. He's like, because he was saying he didn't like the call for going out on fourth down instead of going for the 3 points. He's like, I like points, and yeah, so do we. That's why we went for 6. So it's kind of good. Also, David commented and said, I think the offensive line has actually done a fine job with all the injuries. That was my point. He hasn't been sacked that many times. Granted, those third downs do drive me crazy, but he says your weakest spots are Lucas Patrick and Royce Newman, who wouldn't be getting replaced. Don't think Josh Myers is coming back soon. And is it Nijman? Has actually looked pretty good. So I'm not sure David Bakhtiari is going to be an immediate upgrade. I'm sure that'll get some hate, given he's out for almost an entire year. I'm not sure how close Z is to coming back, but if he could get back after the bye, that would be the biggest addition to our defense, and I'd love to see how they get him, Preston and Gary, all on the field. Some good points there.
Exactly, yes. And Dan Dyler says, I believe it will be the offensive line because D-back should be back on the other side of the bye. He is, or was pre-injury, the highest rated offensive tackle in the NFL. and he protects 12's blind side. There's a lot of trust between those two, even though one can chug a beer a lot faster. That's not to say the offensive line is doing a bad job, just the opposite. But imagine a world in which Rodgers has more time in the pocket to find the open receiver, even if it's only 1/2 of a second. That's an eternity in the NFL. The defense is already playing amazing ball, aside from the loss to New Orleans and Minnesota. And special teams, there's no hope there in the first place. I said it before and I'll say it again. It's a fecal festival. Go, Pack, go!
I kind of like how you said that, Wayne. In a world. You got your move trailer voice going on there.
Hey, after all those episodes of the Hollywood Outsiders Remake This Movie Right podcast.
Yes, this is good stuff. Well, hey, everybody out there, if you too would like to join the Facebook group or join in the conversations and let your voice be heard, be sure to head over to packerscommunity.com. That will give you links to all of the social media outlets that we use. We've got some other great posts and comments unrelated to the poll question that were made over in those groups. First off, Dictus in the Netherlands, who was actually in Green Bay this week. I love that the people in Europe get to go to Lambeau more often than I do. That's crazy. He shared posts about his Lambeau Field Stadium tour, the Packers Hall of Fame tour, and then he went to the amazing Packers game against the Rams. And after the game, Dictus summed it up like this. It was amazing. Such a great time. The whole trip was great, but today, wow. The tailgate, the pregame, the flyover, the atmosphere, electric. And that game, wow, 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 wow. We will definitely be back. Also, on top of that, didn't he get to watch Woodson get his number honored up there in the wall?
Yes. Add that to the list. I mean,
yeah.
Dictus, you picked the right game to go to, and I'm glad you had such a great time and finally able to make it over. That is fantastic. We all need to make it back to Lambeau Field. And David, reflecting on the game and what was probably the best reffed game we've seen all year. A few missed calls. Aaron Donald should be fined for his throat grab on Lucas Patrick, but they were pretty consistent throughout the game. There were only 7 accepted penalties the whole game with no defensive holding or PIs. What a breath of fresh air to see the refs allow the wide receivers and DBs to play physical.
I agree. Dan Dyler shared a bit about Charles Woodson's Ring of Honor ceremony. He says, I got chills remembering and honoring Charles Woodson, 21, and what he did to bring home another Lombardi. Man, that brings back some good memories. What a great weekend that was. Holy cow. Moving on to emails. First one comes from Stephen Verheeren. He says, go Pack go, go Pack go, go Pack go. Stephen Verheeren checking in from Palace Park, Illinois, and what a game to close off Thanksgiving weekend. And how big was Rasul Douglas getting an interception, which he ran the ball in for a touchdown for a third period dagger, as called by Wayne Larrivee, and by Wayne Henderson in the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook group. A low light, the Randall Cobb ruled out at the start of the third quarter for the rest of the game, and the Packers will be heading on a bye, which is the latest time in the season for the Packers to ever have their bye week. Hey, Scott, now that you're going to be coming up to the Chicago Bears again, are you going to make another bet with your Bears fan boss? I'm sure that she will not wear another Packers jersey, but here are some ideas that she would have to do when the Packers beat the Bears. Loser has to buy winner lunch. She has to listen to the episode of the Packers Fan Podcast in which you recap the huge win over the Chicago Bears. Or you could give her the lyrics to Talk Like a Fan, and then she has to sing the song to your class.
Oh, my. Do you think there will be another wager?
I don't think there will be another wager. And fun fact, I actually took a screenshot of this email and sent it to my boss. And she laughed out loud, and you'll get a kick out of this, Wayne, because she said, well, I need to listen to that episode where you talked about me. So I sent her the link to the episode, and she writes back, and she says, do you have like a timestamp of where that is? Because I don't know if I could listen to an entire episode of people gushing about the Packers. And my response was, my response was, nope. Smiley face. So,
it is on.
So I don't know. Maybe I'll make the bet with her and say, hey, if the Packers win, then you have to listen to the episode, the entire episode, and if they lose, I will wear a Bears jersey at school. So maybe she'd be willing to do that if I don't make her wear a jersey, but we'll see what she says. Anyway, Steven goes on with his email and says, Mason Crosby seemed to be having one of his better games, even though he did miss on his final kick by hitting the upright. After the bye week, the Green Bay Packers only have 2 more games left on the road. Okay, I'm going to check out for now, but as always, I can't wait to hear the podcast. Stephen Verheeren.
So many ideas, so many ideas. Hey, Wayne and Scott, this is CCR from Green Bay, Wisconsin. Go Pack Go. What a great statement we had against the Rams. So many great plays, including Aaron Rodgers running in a TD with his broken toe. And Kenny Clark getting a few good sacks on Stafford. And, of course, another great play was the pick six by Douglas. A good thing we do have the bye week next week. But all in all, go Pack Go, bleed green and gold till dead and cold. Caleb, Kathy, and Roy Fisher. Not sure if all three are going to be at the Bears game, but I do believe Caleb posted in the group that at least one of them is going to be at the Packers-Bears rematch game, the battle for the ownership of the Chicago Bears.
I would love to go to that game too, but it is a Sunday night game, and going to work after a Sunday night game is a little rough when you're 3.5 hours away. So I don't know if I can make that happen, but I don't know. Maybe that'll be the bet with my boss. If they win, then I get the day off on Monday. That'd be nice, right?
Yeah.
As always, your calls, emails, comments, and support are so much a part of the Packers Fan Podcast. Thank you very much. Remember to join the Packers Fan Podcast Facebook community and be part of the conversations over at packerscommunity.com. Are you ready for last week's score predictions, Wayne?
I am ready.
Yeah, I bet you are, because, man, you came close to making a perfect matchup this week. I predicted the Rams were going to lose 27-31. My differential there was 6. You predicted the Packers 35, the Rams 28. And since the Packers scored 36 and the Rams scored 28, your differential was only 1 point. So, yes, you extend your lead by 1 more point, and you are slowly running away with this competition, man. I think I'm just terrible at guessing scores. Although I guessed 1 exactly right, so that should count for 3.
Wow, Scott. I thought you said before it should count as 2. Now you want it to count as 3.
Yep, I need to count as 3 now, so I get 2 more, so I'm still in the run. I mean, there's still time, man. There's still 5 weeks left, plenty of time for me to catch up.
6 weeks left, I believe.
Well, yeah, I mean, we have a bye, right?
Yeah, but anyway, I wonder when I could actually clinch this thing. I need to start doing some preliminary selecting of Doctor Who episodes that you might need to watch, and we'll more details on that after we get closer. The NFC North, the Packers are 9-3, the Vikings are 5-6, the Bears are 4-7, and the Lions 10-1. And joining the Packers on their bye week, the Carolina Panthers, the Cleveland Browns, and the Tennessee Titans.
Other news in the NFL this week, unfortunately, Cowboys head coach Mike McCarthy tested positive for COVID.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so he will not be present for the Thursday night game against the Saints. Defensive coordinator Dan Quinn will be on the sideline replacing him for now. So best wishes to Mike McCarthy, even though he's not a Packer anymore. Still love the guy and what he did for our team for so many seasons. So wish you a speedy recovery, sir. Also, the NFC playoff picture right now is just nuts, Wayne. I talked to you about this a little over text earlier today, but I thought it bore repeating. Keep in mind that the Seattle-Washington game is going on pretty much as we speak. I think it starts in about another, 20 minutes or so. But before the game starts, this crazy fact popped up on Twitter. And again, if the Seahawks win tonight, most of you already know the outcome by the time you hear this episode. But if they do manage to pull off a win tonight against the Washington football team, get this. They will be 1 game out of the final wild card spot in the NFC. 1 game with a record of 4-7. It's insane how those numbers work.
That should not be allowed. If you're not above 500, come on.
That's how it works. That's how it works.
That's way terrible.
Yeah, you can almost say it's wild.
It's wild, man. Wild and crazy. They could even, with a record like that, they could be in the NFC East.
Wow.
Last year. Remember that nonsense.
I'm kind of rooting for it to happen at this point, because could you imagine a under 500 team making it to the playoffs? Talk about easy pickings, right?
I hope. Anything can happen.
Or a miracle could happen, man. That would be wild. But anyway, stay tuned for the game. You guys know already, I'm eagerly anticipating to see the outcome of that game. But moving on, I want to remind everybody that I have another podcast besides this one. And if you love video games as much as I do, and I love them a whole lot, please check out The Gaming Outsider, where we chat about my favorite hobby each and every week. And this week, we're going back to the well and talking about our very first consoles that we ever played or owned. So it's going to be a little trip down nostalgia lane. I can't wait to hear what our listeners have said and what my fellow co-hosts have said as well. Chris has also been playing the newest Pokemon game. Pokemon, I think he's playing Brilliant Diamond. So, yeah, Wayne, you'll have to check that out because I know you're a big Pokemon Go guy.
Pika, Pika!
Have you ever played a proper Pokemon game or just Pokemon Go?
I have tried to play with my grandson. He's got a Switch with some Pokemon games, and it's not like Pokemon Go at all, even though the narrative is pretty much the same. But I need some work even for that. But my first ever console game, which was my only ever console game, way back in the day, I think it only played one game, and it was called Pong.
Pong.
And it was pretty much black and white, but it came with a few different plastic overlays if you wanted it to be...
Hockey?
Well, like, no, not even that advanced. But if you wanted it instead of black and white, it could be purple and white, or it could be green and white. Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Hey, that thing, man, when you finally beat that game, woo!
Those credits when they roll, man. There you
There
go.
were no credits.
Well, if you'd like to check out the show, please be sure to check out my website, which is thegamingoutsider.com.
And I also have another podcast. It's going for a couple more weeks, then taking a month off till Christmas, and then it's coming back after Christmas for one more episode of the year, Doctor Who. The podcast is called Don't Blink. You can find details about it at don'tblinkpodcast.com. Yesterday was the penultimate episode of the official part of the season. Pretty good. Lots of things are happening, but the season finale next week looks wild. So hear us talk about it at don'tblinkpodcast.com. I mean, sure, Aaron Rodgers could possibly be the NFL MVP yet again, but we have MVPs at the Packers Fan Podcast because value for value is the way we roll, and Patreon is the place where you can financially support your Packers Fan Podcast if it's in your budget. Details for that are at patreon.com/Packers Fan Podcast, as well as having a link in the show notes as well. So we have huge Go Pack Goes and thank yous to Dan Dyler for his Jim Ringo patronage, and another thank you and Go Pack Go for the Willie Wood supporter, Bryant. And Jay Walters, thank you to you as well, and Go Pack Goes for your AR-12 level support. We love it, we appreciate it, and Go Pack Go.
Also, some thank you and Go Pack Goes go to our Brett Favre-inspired Packers Fan Podcast supporters. That would be Andre in L.A., Colm Nolan from Ireland, Scott Boers, Miguel Ramirez from the Opposites Attract podcast, Jeff Summerfield, and Lawrence Harvey. And at the Curly Lambeau level, Go Pack Goes and thank yous to Beth Mentink, Joe Christensen, Hank Davis from the TPE Network, and Matt Haig. Thanks again to everybody for all of your support. We love you all. And if you too are interested in becoming a patron of the Packers Fan Podcast, check out the details at patreon.com/Packers Fan Podcast.
And as a reminder, the Unofficial Packers Fan Podcast is not affiliated with the NFL or the Green Bay Packers. Please follow us, though, wherever you listen to podcasts. And, of course, please tell a friend.
Also, you can follow us on Twitter. Our handle is @PackersFanPod. Or if you'd like to follow me individually, my handle is @GoCastScott. And Wayne's is @WayneHenderson. And to help the Packers remember the fire while on the bye week, it's Patreon supporter Dan Dyler.
Hey, Packers Fan Podcast listeners, this is your cheesehead from Indianapolis, Dan, and I have just two words for you. Go, 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 Pack, go!